On the date I was making this video, there were less than 2 weeks to go until the release of Arknights, Enfield, so why not? As a way to prepare, I decided to make a guide about Aurora, one of the operators who will also appear in this game under the identity of Snowshine. So let's start with the basics. Aurora is a defender from the duelist subclass, which stands out for blocking an enemy unit, but in addition to that, it has the small flaw that they will only generate SP until they are blocking an enemy. In exchange for this, these defenders will be more offensive, causing a lot of damage to one or more enemies at a time, along with their abilities and modules, which help deal with the negative effects of their subclass. As for her frigid respite talent, it helps Aurora survive without relying so much on a unit to heal her, as it will regenerate a percentage of her health when her skill is not active and her SP is equal to or less than the maximum amount. However, this talent also has a very important flaw, which is that she will not attack while it is active, so enemies may end up ignoring her. Be very careful if you place her too close to the blue box. I know that at the moment it may sound like this operator has more things that affect her negatively, but her abilities help a lot to counteract them. Starting with the first one, Homeland Protector. This ability will allow her to block 2 more units with increased defense, and in addition to that, it will grant her status resistance, which is a passive ability that halves the duration of effects such as stun. However, when this skill ends, Aurora will remain stunned for 5 seconds. I know that at first impression this may sound bad, but if we take into account her personal talent, it really doesn't affect her, since Aurora wouldn't be able to attack anyway when the skill ends. In any case, this ability is intended to be used more as a conventional defense, but you must be careful about when you plan to use it. Now let's move on to her second ability, Artificial Snowfall. When activated, Aurora will increase her attack and gain ammunition that she will spend on each attack. These attacks have the ability to put enemies in a cold state for 2.5 seconds. If an enemy receives 2 attacks with the ability to put them in this cold state, the enemy will be frozen, and if Aurora hits a frozen enemy, it will receive an attack with a huge attack boost. To give you an idea, at level 7, without being frozen, the enemy will receive an attack with a 60% increase, but if the enemy is frozen, the attack increase will be 300%. This ability can be deactivated whenever we want, which is very useful when we need her to recharge her ability for an important moment. This is an ability that Aurora can take advantage of herself. However, I personally believe that it is more useful with other units that are capable of applying this effect. Fortunately, 2 units that can help her are not very difficult to obtain, which is why I think it's very good to have more than 1 unit with the ability to freeze. It's not only to benefit Aurora, but also because you can permanently freeze enemies when you put them all together, which ends up being a lot of fun with bosses who are not immune to this status. Moving with her module. This will improve one of Aurora's biggest weaknesses, as it will allow her to generate SP when she is not blocking enemies, although it will regenerate slowly when she is not blocking an enemy, which is very useful, especially for using her second skill without having to wait for her to block an enemy. At levels 2 and 3, her personal talent will improve, allowing her to regenerate more health per second. Personally, I highly recommend unlocking this module as soon as possible. In fact, if you plan to use other defenders from this subclass, I highly recommend unlocking their modules, as they greatly help to eliminate the flaw that they can only generate SP when blocking enemies. Regarding her base skills, Aurora will support us by accelerating the skill training of other defenders, especially when it comes to their first skill. So if you are looking for someone to help you speed up training, she is a good option to consider. As for skins, Aurora has one that costs 50 NOP, so don't expect a big change in her attack animations. As a final opinion, I believe that Aurora is an operator that you will get the most out of if you combine her with other operators with the ability to freeze, because although her subclass seems to have many disadvantages, when combined with the right units, she can do a lot of damage to enemies. It's not a subclass that I recommend learning to use at the beginning of the game, as your priority should be to improve defenders such as Kuora or Nero, who will allow you to stop several enemies and are more likely to survive on their own. It's not that she's a bad operator, I just think she can be a little more difficult to use correctly. If you've learned to use her other 4 and 6-star counterparts, then you'll have no problem learning to use her. Well, this is Aurora's guide. I hope you found it useful for learning how to use this operator. I also apologize for the delay in uploading a new video. December was a busier month than usual, but little by little I will get back to posting videos on the channel. As for Enfield, I'm still not sure how I will cover it on the channel. To begin with, there is also the possibility that I won't like it as much as the first Arknights, but in any case, I will keep you informed about this as time goes by. Thank you very much for your attention. Take care, and see you in another video.